Flack math! Give me some math and I'll give you some flack. Flack math!
Okay, to find the missing number in a proportion, fish method. Sailors to pirates, and an average of 5 tests is not, it has to be 90. So the sum has to be 5 times 90, which is 450. So to find the missing score, add up the 4 tests and then figure out how much more you need on that last test by subtracting from 450. All right, number 3. A single serving carton costs 66 cents. A case of 12 cartons costs $6.84. How much is saved per carton by buying the yogurt by the case? Do you know how to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, how do you do it?
I multiplied the 66 cents by 12.
Okay, so you figured out how much money you save not per carton, but per case. Okay, so per 12. And then what did you do after that?
I subtracted the total from after multiplying from the saving
Okay.
total.
Yeah, so you figured out how much you would save by buying the case. So you found how much you save per 12 servings. So I want to know how much you save per 1 serving. Okay, so let's go the other direction. If 12 costs $6.84, how do you figure out what 1 costs in that case?
You divide it.
Yeah, you divide it. So $6.84 divided by 12. Let's see, that goes in 5 times. That goes in 7 times. The decimal goes there. So this is 57 cents per serving inside the case, right? So if you just buy it singly, then it's, what is it? 66 cents? So 66 cents minus 57 cents is 9 cents. So this is how much you save per serving, okay? The other way you could have done, did you get 84 cents or 98 cents? What'd you get? $108.08?
I got $1.
Okay, so see how that, you could still divide that number by 12 to get 9 cents. So you almost answered the question. I would have given you partial credit for sure, because you did tell me how much you saved, but how much you saved for 12 cans versus just 1. Okay, does that make sense? All right. So let's move on to number 4. Draw a diagram. You don't have to draw a diagram. Then answer the questions that follow. 4/5 of the 75 classic cars were hot rods. So if I say 4/5 of 75 were hot rods. Okay, so if I translated this into math, I could just say 4/5. How do you say of in math? How do you say it?
Multiplication.
Multiplication. So we know how to do that. And how do you say were? That's past tense of what?
Is
Yeah, is. How do you say is in math?
equal.
Equals. So this is I want to just do a capital R for our variable. I don't know why. So this is what I need, right? How do you multiply 4/5 times 75?
Fractionize it.
Yep, I fractionize it. So put that over 1. You can fractionize any whole number, right? By putting it over 1. You can cross reduce here if you want. So you get 60 hot rods. So 60 of those are hot rods. Now let's ask the question. A, what does it say? How many were hot rods? 60. What's B say? What percent of the cars were hot rods? Well, how do you figure that out? Yeah.
So there's 75 cars total.
Uh-huh.
I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't know.
So tell me in English what you're trying to figure out using numbers. What?
Like, so first I put 60 over 75 and reduced it.
Yeah, yeah, you could do that. So you're basically saying what percent of 75 is 60, right? That's what you're trying to figure out. So let's just translate that into math. What percent is P times 75 equals 60? How do you figure out that number? Divide by 75. So when you do that, if you reduce it, you can reduce it. 15 goes into both of those. Actually, you get down to here, which is where we started. Okay, so don't ever feel bad about wasting your time doing something that's already done. So we just have to make this into a percent. How do you make 4/5 into a percent? Do you know, Grady?
Well, you just, I don't really know how to do it. I could just do it in my head.
Okay, well, what is it?
80%.
80%. So, can you try to explain what you did?
I just know that 100 divided by 5 is 20.
Okay, so basically 4/5 is what percent? So do you see that? So if you make a fraction, it's basically the fish method. 400 divided by 5 equals 80. Okay, you could do it that way. You could just divide 4 by 5 and you get 0.8. Do you know how to change a decimal to a percent? How do you change it? Yeah, you move it over 2 places. 4 divided by 5 is 0.8. So that's 80% when you move it over 2 places. Can you guys handle one of those ways? Okay, yes.
Instead of cross-reducing at the beginning of the problem, when you were trying to find out the parts of the 75, you could just divide 75 by 5.
Yeah, so that's what cross-reducing is, right? Because you're taking a 5 out of both of them, but that's fine. You can get 4/5 of a number. You find a fifth by dividing by 5, and then multiply that by 4. And that's what cross-reducing does. It just looks different, right? So yeah, that's a great way to do it. Okay, guys, moving on to number 5. Okay, number 5, write 44 trillion in scientific notation. Well, let's see what that looks like. 44 trillion. Let's see, that's million, that's billion, more. Look at that. Whew. Because here's thousands, right? Millions, billions, trillions. So how do you write that in scientific notation? First step, Adeline?
So I did, you first put a decimal after the first non-zero digit,
Okay.
and then you count how many spaces it has to go over.
Okay, so let's see. 1, and then 4 groups of 3, that's 12, so that's 13. Is that what you guys got?
Yeah.
Okay, you can always check it, go backwards. To move a decimal, going this way is easy. You just move it that many places to the right, right? Okay, good. Number 6. Write 6.5. Oh, this is nice. All you have to do is move the decimal over 4 places to the right, right? So what do you get? You have to add 2 more zeros, right? You ran out of digits. So 6, 5, 1 with 2 more zeros. Put the comma there. There you go. Does that make sense? Good. All right, that was actually 5A and B, right?
Yeah.
All right, number 6. Compare. So we have to do this math. 1.92 plus 0.3. Make sure you line up the decimals. If you don't line up the decimals, you're going to get it wrong. So that 3 needs to go under the 9 there. So you get 2.22. How does that compare to, let's do this math. When you subtract, you still line up the decimals. If you don't see a decimal, it goes on the end, right? And then add zeros where there's empty spaces. Otherwise, you're going to get, you might get confused. So subtract. So we can only borrow from here. Okay. Okay. Did I do that right? Yeah, I did it right. So 10 minus 4. So how does this compare? What's greater? What arrow do I put? Do you know, Dylan? All right, that's right. Okay, so if I read this left to right, 2.22 is left of 4.16. Left of means less than, okay? All right, number 7. Unit multiplier, millimeters to centimeters. You don't have to use a unit multiplier, but you can if you want. How many millimeters are in a centimeter? Do you know? 10. So do you go 10 millimeters over 1 centimeter or 1 centimeter over 10 millimeters? Okay, so where you're headed is on top, where you're leaving is on the bottom. Leave the past, bury the past, okay? Put it on the bottom. So that goes there, and you'll end up with 710 over 10 divided by 10, which is just 71. The other way you can do this is if you remember your little chart here.
You can just move the decimal one.
Just move the decimal place, move the decimal just however many places on here. So if you can remember these prefixes, then you're in good shape. Okay, so here's your millimeters. You got to go to the centimeters. So you go 1 to the left. Move that decimal 1 to the left, and you're at 71. Okay?
So we don't have to use unit multipliers to do that?
You don't have to use unit multipliers. That's just there if you want it, but we're going to spend more time on unit multipliers next year, and I'm going to bribe you with extra credit, but you can do it however you want to do it now. I just want you to start thinking about unit multipliers.
So we can just like divide.
Yep. Because unit multipliers seems a little like overkill on this problem. You're just going from millimeters to centimeters. Just go one place to the left.
Addison never does her.
Yeah,
She did this last time.
that's all right. She's nice, so she can get away with stuff. Just kidding. She can. We all love her. Number 8. Complete the table. All right, all right, all right. So fraction, a decimal. So what is that? 4 and what is that?
4 and 3/4.
3/4. Okay. So how do you change that to a decimal?
4.75.
Yeah, so this 4, the whole number stays the same. So how do you change a decimal to a percent?
Just
We don't-
move it
it
over
says-
2 times.
Yep, so what's my percent?
435.
475%. Okay, now let's go the different way. 4 and 3/4. Uh-oh. Where's the decimal there? That's just 4.75%, right? How do you change a percent to a decimal?
Move the decimal places.
Yeah, move it to the left 2 places. So what do you end up with? 0.0475. Ooh, that's ugly. But that's it, right? Okay, what is that as a fraction? How do you say that as a fraction? $475, let's see, 10, 100,000, 10,000. And then you can reduce that sucker, right? How do you reduce that sucker? Because now it goes, it looks like 25 would go in there.
Oh.
How many times? That's a pain in the butt, isn't it?
Maybe you cancel out the zeros.
Well, there's no zeros there.
That's my one biggest pet peeve with Saxon. They always give you the problems that you.
It goes in 19 times.
It's like
Does
the
it?
craziest reducing.
I think you're right. Well, let's see, 25 goes in. Yep, 19 times, because 20 times 25 is 500. So, yeah, so 19 over 25 goes into that 400 times. Whew! That's painful, isn't it? But that's what you got to do. Find that fraction, that reduced fraction. If you get this far, 475 10,000, then you're going to get at least half credit there. So that's good. But keep going. Reduce it. Number 9. All I'm doing is substituting. What does it mean when B is right next to C? What does it mean? Kiara? Multiplication. So it's not 5. It's not 52, right? It's 5 times 2 minus C times D, which is 2 times 4. Okay, what do you do first?
Multiply.
Multiply. So you got 10 minus 8, right? What's 10 minus 8? 2. You guys can do that, right? Okay, number 10, find the area. All right, well, let's break this up into shapes that we know. Let's see, let's just cut off that top there. And what are the dimensions of that top?
1 and 3.
Yeah, because this whole thing is 7, and this is 4. This has to be 3 there, right? So what's the area of this top rectangle?
3.
Just 1 times 3, right? What's the area of this bottom one? 12. 3 times 4. You see that 12? So the area is going to be those two added together. 3 plus 12 is 15 square inches. So put inches with a square there. Make sure you put that label there. All right, number 11. Finding the perimeter. They give you everything except one dimension. Do you see that one dimension? That little lower stair there, the top of that lower stair. You guys know what that is? 2 feet. You can figure that out by just, okay, the whole thing is 5, so 5 minus 3 is 2. So you can do it that way. The classic mistake is just to add the numbers that you see, right? Don't make that mistake. The other way to do it is add all the horizontal sides, or the horizontal sides and all the vertical sides. So you got 2 5s and 2 8s, and you're done. Either way, you should get the same answer. I would do it both ways. Let's add them all together. 8 plus 5 plus 5 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3. Okay, so that's 18, 20, 26 feet. Let's try it the other way. It's just 2 8s and two 5s. 26 feet. Okay? Do both those ways kind of make sense? You can add the horizontal lines, which is 2 5s and 2 8s. Can you guys do it at least one of those ways?
Mm-hmm.
All right, good. Moving on to number 12.
Mr. Flack,
Yes.
what was the answer to number 14?
So 26, or number 11 is 26 feet. We haven't gotten to 14 yet. All right, home stretch. Number 12A. See here, what fraction of the rectangle is shaded? Remember, fraction is a certain number out of a total. Well, how many boxes are shaded? Kiara? 9. How many total boxes are there?
16.
All right, 16. So 9 out of 16. How do you say that? Just 9 over 16. Good? That's a nice question, isn't it? What fraction is unshaded? Well, if 9 out of 16 is shaded, what's not? 7/16. Thank you. That was a nice, easy problem, wasn't it? Okay, number 13. 7 equals P plus 3.63. How do you find that missing add-in? What do you do? Subtract, right? So 7, so P, so you could do it like this. Blip, 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 minus blip, 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 blip. This is how we do it in algebra. But you know that to find the missing number in an addition problem, subtract the answer minus the other add-in. So I need a 0.00 there, right? So borrow. So 10 minus 3 is 7. 9 minus 6 is 3. So 3.37. Is that what you guys got? Awesome. All right, number 14. Okay, fish method, right? G over 6 equals 16 over 12. There's the fish method, and then there's a faster way in this case. You don't always have this option, but what's the fish method? Adeline?
The fish method is 6 times 16 divided by 12.
Okay, so what is that? 96 divided by 12? Or is it 96? Yeah, 96 divided by 12. What's the faster way? Do you know the faster way too?
Uh-huh.
What is it?
6 times 2 equals 12.
Uh-huh.
So whatever time,
Yeah,
what
so
times it's so.
what
when it
times
comes-
2 is 16?
Yeah.
Okay, what is it? 8, right. So let's make sure the fish method works the same way. Fish method will work every time, but you have to deal with big numbers like 96 divided by 12. Ugh. Okay, 8. That works. All right. The other one, you could reduce that a little bit. What goes into both 16 and 12?
4.
So 4 goes into it 4 times and 3 times. Or if you just divide by 2, look what happens. You get 8 over 6. So what over 6? 8 over 6. So there's multiple ways you can do this question. But if you know how to do it 2 ways, you should always do it 2 ways. Because if you get the same answer doing it 2 different ways, then you know you're right. Okay? Number 15. Let's do this. Okay. We just said what comes first in order of operations? The powers and roots. So remember when you do multiplication and division, that's the same operation. You have to do that left to right. So powers and roots are the same way. So please excuse that E stands for exponents. So exponents could be powers or roots. So what does this mean? 15 with a little 2 by it. What does that mean? Yeah, this is not 30, right? Don't say 30 there. This is 15 times 15. Anyone know that in their head?
Not in my head, but I
Grace, what do you got?
225.
225, that's right. And then what is 4 squared? 16. What's 3 squared? 9. And what does this mean?
I got 17.
So it's not 15.
17?
It is 17. Did you get 17?
No. Your 4 squared is actually 4 cubed.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Good catch. So what's 4 cubed? 64, that's right.
I got 64. I just wasn't thinking.
Okay, square root of 289 is not 289 divided by 2. Square root of something is what number times itself equals that? And that is 17. Okay, so that's just something you have to like try to figure out. Guess something, see if it works. Well, you can get close by doing this. Look, if you figured out that 15 squared is 225, well, that means the square root of 289 is something a little bit bigger than 15. So don't start with like 10 or 11 or 12. Start with a number a little bit bigger than 15. Okay? So now when you do this math, what'd you get? 224 minus 64 minus 9 minus 17. 135. Okay. Sounds good to me. Everyone okay with that number? Is that what you guys got? All right. Almost done. Let's do the last 5. So, Adeline, it wasn't a math mistake. I just copied it down wrong. But if you catch me in another clerical mistake, then I'll give you a free problem set.
Okay.
Okay, so good job. Thank you for catching that. Number 16 is 3 plus 3 times 3 minus 3 divided by 3. What do you do first? Multiply and divide. Don't say 6 there. Don't do that. If you've done that before, that's okay. You were young and a little bit dumb, but now you're not a little bit dumb anymore. You're smarter. You're smarter than that. So do that and that first. Don't add or subtract first. Okay? So what is that? 3 plus 9 minus 1, right? 3 divided by 3 is 1. So what's 3 plus 9 minus 1? 11. Good. All right. So the whole point of that problem is to try to trick you. Don't be fooled. Number 17. Okay, I'm adding fractions, so I'm going to do that vertically. So I need a common denominator to add fractions, right? So what is the common denominator of 4, 12, and 8? Okay, do you know? What's the common denominator of 4, 12, and 8? 24. Okay, so how do I turn a 4 into 24? Times 6. So whatever you do to the bottom, do to the top. So what's my numerator for there? 18. All right. Okay, how do I turn a 12 into 24? Times 2. So 1 times 2 is 2. Turn an 8 into 24. Times 3. Okay, so when you add all those numerators together, now you can add the numerators because you have a common denominator. You guys paying attention? You got this. It is fun. 24s are funny, so I get it. So add them together. 18 plus 5 is 23. 24. That's nice because we didn't go over, so we don't have to carry anything. Remember that confusing stuff? So it's just 23 24ths. Now you just add normally. What's 4 plus 2 plus 1? 7. So there's your answer. That was nice. How many more do we have? 3. 18, 19, and 20. Let's do it. $18 says, oh, multiplication. How do you multiply mixed numbers? You don't. If you've done that in the past, that's okay. You're not dumb anymore. Let's multiply. Let's change them to improper. How do you change 4 and 4/5 to an improper fraction? Adeline?
You multiply 4 times 5 and then plus 4.
All right, so 24/5 times, okay, what's 3 and 1/8? Somebody else. Yes, Kiara?
25/8.
Yep, 8 times 3 is 24 plus 1 is 25 over 8. Oh, this is going to be nice because we get to cross reduce some stuff. What's 1 and 9/20? 29 over 20. All right, look at this. I'm going to take out my red pen because I get to reduce. So what dies?
5 and 25.
Oh, please, I've got a family. No. Okay, what else dies?
8 and
Oh.
wait for it.
All right, poor guy. Never saw it coming.
24,
Anything else?
24 didn't die. He shrunk.
Well, yeah, 24, but the 8 is dead completely. Okay, but there's one more. Can you see it?
Is it 5 and 20?
Yes, 5 and 20. Now the 5 is completely dead.
No, there's one remaining.
Oh, there's one, yeah, but it pretty much canceled out because now it's just a 3 times 29, right? You guys know what 3 times 30 is? What? So 30 threes is 90. So what's 29 threes? 87, right? So you can leave your answer like this, or you can say, let's see, that's, what is that? 21 and 3/4. Okay, but you can leave it like an improper fraction because we like improper fractions. All right, 19. Are you cracking your knuckles? Ew. All right, so how do you do this math?
Borg.
Yep, and a year from now, you'll be able to use your calculators and pre-algebra, but you have to do this the long way. So you just do one at a time. There's 3 things you have to multiply, so do 2 at a time. So let's do 0.17 times 0.8. Everybody okay with doing that first? Doesn't matter what order, right? So let's see, 56. Oh, I did that backwards, didn't I? 56, 13, add a spacer. Oh, no spacer, just multiplying by 1 digit. Where's the decimal go?
At the very beginning.
Very beginning, right? Because there's 2 here, there's 1 here, so there's got to be 3 decimal places, right? What are you guys doing now?
He ripped his highlighter apart, and it looks like one of those like push pop lollipop things.
Oh yeah, don't eat that. You'll have diarrhea for weeks. Diarrhea. You guys know that song? Diarrhea. It's like a song about baseball. When you're going to first and your pants begin to burst. Diarrhea.
I've heard that actually. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. Sliding into home and your pants are full of foam. Diarrhea. Diarrhea. You guys not heard that?
No, I have.
All right, so you've heard it.
I have.
So you should Google it. It might be gross. But. So there's that. No, but we're not done yet. Now we have to multiply by 0.04. Okay. So that's just 136 times 4. So that's 24, blah, blah, 14, blah, blah. Okay, where do I put the decimal now?
Next to the 5 and 4.
Yeah, well, no. You have to go 5 places, right? Because you're multiplying a decimal number with 3 decimal places times a number with 2 decimal places. So you count up the total number of places. So you got to go 1, 2, 3. You ran out of digits, so add 2 more zeros. 0.00544. Whew. Painful. All right, how do you divide decimals? How do you divide decimals? You don't. So you have to change that decimal to a whole number, right? How do you change 0.018 to a whole number? Yeah, move it over 3 places. Whatever you do to this, you have to do to this is like a fraction, right? So whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. So this is where the decimal goes in my new number, right there. So now you can just divide. How many times does 18 go into 72? Anyone know that? Exactly. Guess.
I can't.
That's about 20-ish into 80-ish.
I'm
4
gonna say
times.
4.
Okay, 4. So that goes in exactly, so you can just fill in your zeros and you're done. 400. That's it. You guys have any questions on any of these questions? Okay, if you're still struggling, you can still watch the video or message me. But that's it. Okay, you guys gonna ace this test?